Well, hello, my fellow explorers of biblical conundrums. Welcome to episode 150 of the Bible Difficulties and Answers podcast. I'm Lance Smith, your host, armed with a theologian's curiosity and a chronicler's knack for spinning a yarn. Today, we're tackling a question that's sparked more debates than a philosopher's late night tavern brawl. Does Exodus 21:22 to 23 suggest unborn children are worth less than adults? Grab a seat, pour a stiff espresso, and let's dive into this ancient text like archaeologists unearthing a scroll with a secret worth decoding. We're using the New Living Translation, so here's the passage from Exodus 21:22 to 23. Now, suppose two men are fighting, and in the process, they accidentally strike a pregnant woman, so she gives birth prematurely. If no further injury results, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensation the woman's husband demands, and the judges approve. But if there is further injury, the punishment must match the injury, a life for a life. Picture two guys scrapping like they're haggling over the last loaf at a wilderness bakery. And in the fray, they jostle a pregnant woman. The big question: does this law put the unborn child on the lower shelf than the mother, like a bargain bin sandal at the bazaar? Some folks, squinting at translations like the New Revised Standard Version, and it's been a while since I've poked fun at this translation, sees a fine for a miscarriage, but a death penalty if the mother dies. It's tempting to think, a fine for the kid, execution for the mom? It sounds like the unborn's getting shortchanged. But hold your camels. Let's not leap to conclusions like a scribe dodging a deadline. This passage has more layers than a freshly baked baklava, and the Hebrew text holds clues that might just rewrite the verdict. Let's start with the Hebrew word yatsah, which describes what happens to the child. It means to come forth, like a star performer stepping onto the temple stage. In the Old Testament, yatsah is the go-to for live birth. Think baby Moses making his grand debut in a basket. There's another word, shalkol, for miscarriage, but it's nowhere to be found here, like a guest who ghosted the feast. The Big Book of Bible Difficulties drives this home. Yatsah points to a live, premature birth, not a miscarriage. The New Living Translation's give birth prematurely nails it, but the King James Version throws a curveball with her fruit depart from her, which sounds like it belongs in a dusty alchemist notebook. All right, now here is the King James Version of that saying. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, according to the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. Okay. That mischief, the Hebrew asan, is the wild card, vaguer than a prophet's forecast during a sandstorm. It means harm or calamity. But to whom? Mom, baby, or both? It's like a contract clause scribbled in disappearing ink. Imagine you're an ancient Israelite hearing this law. Would you think a fine means the baby's worth less, or just that accidents come with a price tag? Let's unpack the two scenarios, opening like a scroll with a plot twist. If the baby's born early and everyone's fine, mom and child healthy, the offender pays a fine set by the husband in court. Think of it as a penalty for reckless endangerment, like a merchant coughing up shekels for toppling a rival's stall. In ancient Israel, a child was a future heir, a worker, a legacy, like a cornerstone for the family's future. The fine wasn't chump change. It covered the stress and risk, showing the unborn's life mattered enough to demand accountability. GotQuestions.org notes that fines in Mosaic law often addressed economic loss, not intrinsic worth, like paying for a neighbor's broken cart. But if further injury happens, it's life for life. Ancient justices equivalent of balancing the scales with a sledgehammer. Here's where the debate gets stickier than resin on a cedar plank. Does further injury include the baby's death? Scholars like Umberto Cassuto, John MacArthur, and the Septuagint say yes. If the child dies, the offender faces the death penalty, same as for the mother. MacArthur puts it sharply in the MacArthur Study Bible with this: significantly for the abortion debate, the fetus was considered a person. Thus, someone was held accountable for its death or injury. The Septuagint, the Greek translation, clarifies that if the child is formed and dies, it's life for life. That's not a wrist slap. It's the Bible saying the unborn's life carries the same weight as an adult's, like 2 gold bars on a merchant's scale. Now, I'll confess, this passage stumped me at first. I wondered if the fine really meant the baby was less valuable, like a second-hand cloak at the market. But digging into the Hebrew was like finding a hidden map in a dusty scroll case. The word for the child, yeled, means child, not fetus. It's the same term for baby Moses in the basket, Exodus 2:3, or Isaac at his weaning party, Genesis 21:8. It's like God handing the unborn a name tag, fully human, handle with care. Some argue the fine covers the child's death, while life for life is only for the mother, implying lesser value. They lean on translations like the New Revised Standard Version that suggest miscarriage, making it seem like the baby's loss is just a monetary oopsie. It's a slick argument fitting some modern agendas like a tailored tunic, but it's not ironclad. In ancient Near Eastern law, fines were standard for unintentional harm, even among adults. Check Exodus 21:18-19, for a brawl's injury means paying for downtime and doctor bills. It's like settling a tab after a bar fight, not saying the victim's life is cheap. The broader Bible backs this up. Psalm 139:13-16 in the New Living Translation sings, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Your workmanship is marvelous." That's God as the ultimate sculptor, crafting life with purpose from the start. In Luke 1:41-44, baby John the Baptist does a womb-bound dance when Mary strolls in, proving the unborn are starring in God's drama, not waiting in the wings. John Piper's team at Desiring God sums it up. The life-for-life penalty in Exodus 21:23, when understood in light of the Hebrew term yatzah and the broader biblical witness, strongly suggests that the unborn child is a person with the same inherent value as the mother. Scholars like Russell Fuller in the Journal of the Evangelical Theological Society reinforce this, noting that life for life applies to both mother and child, affirming their equal status. Lutherans for Life adds, the law's structure affirms the personhood of the unborn by holding the offender accountable for harm to either mother or child. Even Jewish tradition, via the Septuagint, treats the child's death as a capital offense if formed. Let's zoom out to the cultural context because this is where the pieces snap together like a well-crafted mosaic. The Mosaic Law was Israel's playbook for surviving a chaotic world, like a captain's log for a ship. Fines weren't just pocket money. They compensated for real loss. A child was a future contributor, like a seed for the family's vineyard. The lex talionis, life for life, was about justice, not ranking lives. It's like saying, scratch my cart, you pay. Take a life, you forfeit yours. The fine in Exodus 21:22 likely covered the economic hit of a premature birth, not a verdict that the child's life was worth less than a camel's saddle. So, Does Exodus 21:22-23 devalue the unborn? Not by a long shot. The passage's ambiguity, a fine for premature birth, death for further harm, leaves wiggle room, but the Hebrew terms, penalty structure, and Bible's broader narrative tilt toward equal value. The fine's about practical justice, like paying for a dented shield, not dismissing the unborn's worth. If the child dies, life for life suggests the same penalty as for an adult, balancing the scales. This isn't a pro-abortion loophole. It's truly a pro-life affirmation dressed in ancient legal robes. We've navigated some rocky terrain, from Hebrew wordplay to ancient courtrooms, and I hope it sheds some light on this thorny text. Here's my challenge. What's your take? Does the life for life rule make the unborn equal, or does the fine throw you off? Hit up our Bible Difficulties and Answers Facebook page or email me at BibleDifficultiesAndAnswers@gmail.com to weigh in. If you're digging the show, drop a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or YouTube. All episodes are at BibleDifficultiesAndAnswers.podbean.com. Next Friday, we're diving into another puzzle. Exodus 21:29-30. Why was capital punishment commuted in some murder cases? It should be another interesting one. Until then, I'm Lance Smith, wishing you good luck, good help, and God bless. So long, everybody.